My 5-year-old daughter came home from school, knelt in front of me, and begged me not to send her back to kindergarten. She said she didn't want to go anymore. I asked her why, but she just cried and shook her head, too scared to speak. Sensing something was wrong, I lifted her shirt and found her arms and body covered in small marks. Trembling with indignation, I took a photo and posted it in the kindergarten parents group, asking who had done this. A woman named Clara arrogantly replied, "I told my son to do it." She then sent 2 photos. One was of her wedding to my husband, and the other was a picture of me with my daughter and my husband. She wrote, "You homewrecker. You dared to steal my husband and have a child out of wedlock. It's a miracle I didn't tell my son to do worse to your child." The parents group erupted with insults directed at me and my daughter. Even the teacher tagged Clara in the conversation, saying, "Enrique did very well today. I'll make sure he gets a gold star tomorrow." Clara sent a smug emoji and directly challenged me, "If you're upset, come find me." My son and I are still at the kindergarten. On the way there, with my daughter by my side, I sent a message to my company's legal team, "Prepare a divorce agreement as per the prenup. I want Tiago out with nothing. Also, my daughter was assaulted at the kindergarten. Bring a team immediately. I want them to pay for this. How dare Tiago live off me while keeping a mistress and a child on the side?" When I arrived at the kindergarten with my daughter, the first person I saw was Clara, surrounded by other parents from the class. They were praising her. "Clara, you're so discreet. If it weren't for all this, we'd never have known your husband is the CEO of Martin's Group." Another added, "No wonder you have such natural elegance. That's the kind of sophistication that comes with wealth." Someone else said, "We're here to support you. We're proper mothers, and we won't let a homewrecker like that intimidate you." Even the teacher was flattering her. "Clara, tell me Enrique's favorite foods, and we'll adjust the kindergarten menu for him." Clara looked radiant, basking in the compliments. Tiago, who had lived off my support for years, had been given control of a small branch of Martin's Group because I thought he needed responsibility. I never imagined this would become Clara's source of pride and admiration. The moment they saw me, the parents, who had been praising Clara moments earlier, immediately frowned and looked at me with disgust, as though I were something filthy. The teacher approached me with a cold expression and said, "Miss Silva, I've been instructed by the principal to inform you that Isabella is expelled, effective immediately." I glared at her and asked coldly, "My daughter was attacked. Instead of seeking justice for her, you're expelling her?" The teacher replied, "This is an elite kindergarten. The children here come from noble or wealthy families. A child from someone like you would only damage our reputation." My expression darkened as I warned her, "I suggest you investigate who the real homewrecker is before making accusations." At that moment, Clara stormed over to me and slapped me hard across the face. "How dare someone as despicable as you flaunt yourself in front of me? Did you really think having an illegitimate child would make you take my place as Mrs. Martins?" The slap left me stunned, while the other parents laughed and insulted me. I heard comments like, "You look decent, so why stoop so low as to be a mistress and have a child?" And some people pretend to be innocent, but the moment they see a rich man, they lose all control. Some bystanders started taking photos and videos of me, and even spat at me. Calmly, I removed my $1 million coat and threw it in the trash. Then, I turned to Clara and said, "First, you told your son to hurt my daughter, and now you assault me in public. Who gave you the audacity to act like this?" Clara arrogantly replied, "It's my right as a wife to slap a mistress. Besides, I'm the wife of Martin's Group CEO. Hitting you and your daughter is nothing. I could do far worse, and no one would do anything about it." The other parents chimed in, "If you hadn't been a mistress, Clara wouldn't have hit you. You brought this on yourself. You're just a filthy mistress. Instead of keeping your head down, you're out here provoking us. Getting slapped is the least of what you deserve. Yeah, you've got a taste for being a tramp, huh? Who are you pretending to be the innocent victim for? We're not like those men, blinded by lust." Even the bystanders joined in on the insults. Each insult was more vicious than the last. This only emboldened Clara further. She glared at my car behind me, her eyes blazing with anger. "You filthy woman. Spending my husband's money like it's nothing. How dare you drive a Rolls-Royce? A cheap mistress like you doesn't deserve this car. I hate mistresses more than anything. Every mistress on earth should die." As she spoke, she pulled out a key and scratched large letters across my car's surface. "Mistresses must die." I glanced at the glaring words and said coldly, "You'll soon realize how ironic those words are." Hearing this, Clara flew into a rage. "You filthy woman. Living off my husband's money and acting all high and mighty. Today, I'll make sure you pay back every penny you've taken from him." She picked up a brick from the sidewalk and started smashing my car with all her strength. She didn't spare anything. The windows, headlights, and the hood, everything was attacked. Seeing this, the other parents were energized. They picked up whatever they could find and joined in on the rampage, smashing my car with enthusiasm. After breaking the windows, they climbed inside, slashing at the seats and tearing apart the interior. The once pristine luxury car was quickly reduced to a heap of scrap metal. At that moment, one of the women broke open the trunk and gasped, "Look, there's a bunch of expensive stuff hidden in here." Clara approached casually, pulling out a painting and sneering. "A woman who makes her living selling herself is collecting art, trying to act all cultured. It's an insult for trash like you to own something like this. Someone like you only deserves trash." With that, she tore the painting to shreds right in front of me. After ripping it apart, she threw it to the ground and stomped on it. One of the bystanders, who seemed knowledgeable about art, took a closer look and exclaimed, "This looks like an authentic piece by James. I heard it starts at 300 million at auctions," Clara proudly said. "So, what if it's worth 300 million? It's all my husband's money anyway. My husband's money is my money. If I want to destroy my own stuff, what's the problem?" Her words left me speechless with anger. Let's not even mention that Tiago was a penniless live-in husband. Even when I let him manage Martin Group, he lost nearly half of the company's value due to his incompetence. If he were my husband, I would have fired him long ago. But Clara and these other parents actually see him as some impressive CEO. Every single one of them looks up to him with admiration. Led by Clara, the other parents followed suit, tearing up my paintings. They all started ripping and smashing the collectibles I had in my trunk. I had bought these items at a high price from an auction today. Before I could even place them anywhere, they were destroyed. Watching these out-of-control lunatics, I calmly pulled out my phone. "Why aren't you here yet? I want you in front of me within 5 minutes." Before I even got a response, one of the parents snatched my phone and smashed it to the ground. "Trying to call for help? Where do you get the nerve? Are you pretending to be someone important, huh? She's probably calling one of her clients to put on a show for us." Ha ha ha. The parents laughed even louder, openly mocking me. I stared at my shattered phone on the ground and said coldly, "I hope you'll still be laughing this hard in a few minutes." Then I turned to the teacher and asked, "You knew my daughter was being bullied at school, didn't you?" The teacher glared at me with disdain and replied, "So what if I did? A bastard daughter of a worthless mistress is nothing but trash. Enrique was just taking out the trash. What's the issue?" I stood there, unmoving, watching the chaos around me. My car, which until minutes ago was a symbol of my hard work and success, was now in ruins. The trail of hatred, the laughter, and the looks of contempt hit me like a constant blow to the chest. Clara basked in her perceived victory, while the other parents acted like a frenzied mob, feeding off their mutual disdain for me. I didn't yell, beg, or cry. I remained calm, though inside, a storm of fury raged. Part of me wanted to retaliate right then and there, to destroy something of theirs, to scream that this entire spectacle was based on lies. But no. Clara, Tiago, all of them, didn't deserve to see any reaction from me. That would fuel them. They expected me to lose control, to beg for mercy, or even to run away in shame. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. My voice came out calm, almost icy. "Do you know what I see here? A desperate woman who needs to use lies to justify her own insignificance. Do you honestly believe this charade of hers? Do you think a man like Tiago has anything to offer? I carried that man on my back for years. When I met him, he didn't even have a decent job. And now you're here, treating him like a king and me like trash. All based on the words of a woman who clearly doesn't understand dignity. The laughter paused briefly. Clara, however, wasted no time. Do you think your words mean anything to us? Look around you. You're alone, abandoned. No one here believes you. A mistress like you has no right to talk about dignity. That word again. Mistress. Clara wielded it like a knife, but she had no idea that her little act was about to come crashing down. Deep down, I knew all of this was temporary. Their blind fury wouldn't change the facts, wouldn't change what was about to happen. I heard the sound of cars braking behind me. My lawyer, accompanied by security guards, stepped out quickly. He looked at the state of my car, at the commotion around me, and then directly at me. Is everything under control? He asked seriously, though his gaze clearly said, "This ends now." I smiled faintly and nodded. It's just beginning. Before Clara could say anything, the guards positioned themselves beside me. One of them approached her, taking the key she still held in her hand. This is evidence of vandalism. We'll need to take it with us. Clara started shouting, trying to argue, but the authority of the man and the gravity of the situation were becoming evident. One of the parents, who had been breaking something inside the car, quickly dropped what they were holding and tried to slip away, but a guard stopped them. All of you participated in this destruction, my lawyer said, raising his voice so everyone could hear. The parking lot cameras recorded everything. This isn't just a case of vandalism, but also collective harassment. My client has every right to sue each and every one of you. He paused, pointing directly at Clara. And you, in particular, will have to answer for incitement to violence and defamation. The expressions of shock and panic began to spread across the group. Some parents tried to protest, claiming they had been influenced, that they didn't know what was really happening. Clara, on the other hand, kept insisting, trying to twist the narrative. She's a liar. This is all her fault. She stole my husband. She deserved every second of this. I stared at her directly. Clara, do you really think this will save you? That these empty words and this performance will hide the truth? I turned to my lawyer. Please show everyone what we found in the audit on Tiago. He pulled a document from his briefcase and began reading aloud. Tiago Martins, known as the CEO of Martin Group, embezzled funds from the company over the past 3 years. The total estimated amount is $25 million. The money was transferred to joint accounts between him and Clara. Evidence includes bank statements and intercepted emails. Silence fell immediately. All eyes turned to Clara, who began stammering, denying everything. That's a lie. She's making it up. It's a setup. But her voice trembled. For the first time, her arrogant confidence was crumbling. A lie? I chuckled softly. You all let yourselves be deceived by this woman. Tiago was never a CEO. He was an incompetent employee who nearly destroyed the company. I allowed him to hold that position only so he wouldn't feel useless. And meanwhile, he was stealing money to support you, Clara. But guess what? All his so-called wealth that you're so proud of was mine. And now, neither he nor you have anything. Guess what that means for your future? Clara, speechless, began backing away. The group around her was slowly dispersing, realizing they had sided with the wrong person. One of the parents murmured, I didn't know about this. Clara, you told us she was the one to blame. She is. Clara shouted, desperate, but no one seemed convinced anymore. I will sue every single one of you, I said coldly, pointing at the group. And Clara will see how much you can handle when everything you think you own is taken away. I left the scene as calmly as I had arrived, but inside, I felt a deep satisfaction. Clara and Tiago had underestimated me. They thought they could destroy me, but in the end, it would be them facing the consequences of their choices. And this was just the first battle I had won. Everything I did in the days that followed was for her, my daughter. That little life, even in the midst of chaos, remained my greatest reason to keep going. Seeing her frightened face as she heard insults hurled at me, as she watched strangers destroy what was ours, was enough to seal my decision. No one would get away with it. My lawyer worked tirelessly, gathering every piece of evidence possible. The parking lot cameras were just the beginning. We obtained messages from Clara in the parents' group inciting hatred against me. On top of that, the financial audit evidence against Tiago was damning. He had embezzled millions from the company into joint accounts with Clara, and the irony was that they used that money to fund their luxurious lifestyle and maintain the appearance of a perfect family. The lawsuits were filed. Clara and Tiago wouldn't just face charges for vandalism and harassment, but also for theft and financial fraud. Clara's involvement was undeniable. She knew about the scheme, encouraged it, and benefited from it. Both their arrogance was replaced with panic when the legal notices arrived. During the trial, they tried to defend themselves. Clara cried, claiming she knew nothing and only trusted her husband. Tiago tried to twist the narrative, alleging that I had orchestrated everything. But the evidence was overwhelming. Emails between the two detailed their embezzlement plans. Bank statements showed direct transfers to Clara's accounts. Even messages of Clara boasting about how no one would ever find out were presented. With each new piece of evidence, their faces grew paler. The most impactful moment was when I took the stand. I looked at the jury, the judge, and then at them and said, "Everything I have done, everything I built, was to provide a better life for my daughter. When Tiago entered my life, I believed we were a team, that he wanted the same. But instead, he betrayed my trust, stole what was mine, and used it to support this woman, Clara, who even dared to attack my daughter. It's not just my assets they destroyed. It's my daughter's safety, trust, and innocence. And that, Your Honor, is unforgivable." The verdict was clear. Both were found guilty. Tiago received a harsh sentence for financial fraud and theft. Clara, an active accomplice in the scheme, was also convicted. When they heard their sentences, Clara broke down, sobbing uncontrollably, screaming that she couldn't go to prison. Tiago remained silent, staring into the void, perhaps finally realizing the gravity of his actions. They lost everything: their freedom, their reputation, and most importantly, any control over my future. When the trial ended, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It wasn't joy or vengeance that moved me, but a sense of justice. This wasn't just for me, it was for my daughter. I decided we needed a fresh start. I sold the house, left the city, and moved somewhere where no one knew us, where we could begin anew. I enrolled my daughter in a new school. It was hard at first. She was traumatized, hesitant to trust people. The scars were no longer visible on her body, but in her behavior. For weeks, she struggled to approach other children, staying quiet and observing from a distance. But over time, things began to change. A caring teacher and kind classmates made all the difference. Slowly, she started smiling again. She made friends. One day, she ran home, excited to tell me she had been chosen to represent her class in a school project. I cried tears of relief and joy. My little girl was healing. Today, she's a happy child. She has many friends and never misses school. Every time I drop her off at the gate, I see her classmates run up to greet her, and my heart fills with gratitude. She doesn't talk about what happened in our old city, and I don't bring it up either. The past is buried there while we focus on building a better future. As for me, I restarted my career elsewhere. I've learned to be more cautious, to protect what's mine, and to never let anyone exploit my kindness as a weakness. I know I can't erase everything that happened, but I can ensure my daughter grows up in an environment where she feels safe and loved. Clara and Tiago? They're paying for their actions. Both remain in prison, and I'm sure they blame each other for what happened. But I don't think about them anymore. My revenge was seeing them face the consequences of their choices. My true victory is watching my daughter run, play, and smile without fear. Everything I did was for her, and I'd do it all again if I had to. After all, she is my greatest achievement, my strength, and the reason I will never, ever allow myself to be knocked down again.